Who has two thumbs and has ADHD? This guy. If this comes as a shock to you, I don't know what to tell you. So, I've been alluding to, for the past couple of months, the fact that I might have ADHD, and sure enough, I do. One of my big New Year's resolutions this year, I've been big on New Year's resolutions since COVID, when I put on my freshman 15 and had to lose weight, and I lost it within a few months, and I've been big on New Year's resolutions. So this year, my New Year's resolution was to really, dive down deep into my mental health and really figure out what makes me tick and if I have anything. And that's kind of how all of this started. Me and my fiance have been going through this journey together. She actually got diagnosed first, and I kind of waited to see how she would do, and I really, really liked how she interacted with the people that tested her. Ames Psychological Counseling Services. I'm going to put a whole bunch of information in the description for anybody who's thinking about testing for ADHD, things to help with ADHD. We were both tested by Dr. James Donaldson, who is freaking awesome and a great dude, and really helped me and my fiance understand what makes us tick. So for my whole life, and anyone who's even remotely watched a little bit of this channel knows this, I have a short fuse, and I get set off really easily at little things. And I also cannot sit still. You see my eyes darting around in videos. I'm always shifting around in my chair. Things that a lot of people don't see. I grind my teeth a lot. I move my toes around a lot when I'm sitting in a chair. I bite the inside of my cheek a lot. Just really little things. So with the way I was diagnosed, I have what is called a combined presentation of ADHD, and I have my big medical notes here that I got, which is a combination of inattention and hyperactivity / impulsivity, which honestly explains just about everything that I've been dealing with my whole life. So this testing, the way that I did it, came in 4 phases. There was kind of the consultation appointment, there were 2 phases of testing, and then the consult appointment at the end, all of which went really well. Essentially what it was a lot of questionnaires. I probably answered a good 400, 500 plus questions, just like mental health questionnaire, stuff like that. I was evaluated by people in my life. There was kind of a take-home sheet after the first appointment, like the first true round of testing. You had to have someone who knew you between the ages of 5 and 12 evaluate you, and someone who knows you now evaluate you. Naturally, I chose my mom and my fiance. I also helped out my fiance with her end of this testing. So it's a lot of that, and then there were a couple of computerized tests, I guess. There was this one where, I say one, I laugh at that. You'll see why I laugh at that in a second. There was this one test where you had to, click a button or, click your mouse every time, you saw a number 1 flash on a screen, or, if you heard 1. It was basically an attention test to see if you paid attention and you could follow directions well. And the funny thing with me, I did extraordinarily well on that. I was confident that I had a perfect score after I completed that test. I don't think I had a perfect score, but Dr. Donaldson said I did really well with that one. And one of the things he kind of explained to me was, the interesting thing with your ADHD is when I am in an enclosed space with no distractions, I do phenomenally well. Phenomenally? I can't even speak now. I do very well focusing on things and getting things done. As much as COVID sucked, and I do not wish to go back to that, being a college freshman in fall of 2020, 90% of my stuff, 85-90% of my stuff was online. And I spent several hours a day locked in a study room or locked in my dorm, just putting my head down, getting stuff done. And I really like that, because a lot of the time I would be done with my weekly workload by Wednesday or early Thursday morning, and I could just take the rest of the week off. But I worked really, really, really hard, like Monday through Wednesday or Monday through Thursday, because I had that time to do so. I remember these, I don't know why this pops in my head. I remember these ABC Mouse commercials on PBS. I was a PBS kid through elementary school and probably early middle school too. I really liked the programming there. But there was this commercial with ABC Mouse. It's like, hey, we can help your child out with this. Is the pace for your child in school going too fast or too slow for them? So often, I feel like things are going so slow. One of the big questions in ADHD testing was, do you feel like you're constantly driven by a motor or you can't sit still? Yes, I'm fidgeting with my hands right now as I'm talking about this. My doctor and I had a laugh about it when we were going through the questionnaire, because I was like twitching my leg and like, I don't know, picking up my fingernail or something. Like, I'm doing it right now. I literally can't sit still. But I always have to go. I have to go. I am mentally always spinning. I've told a lot of people this. I like to plan out my life mentally like a week and a half or 2 weeks in advance. Like, I have a mental map going out of like everything I want to do for like the next about week and a half at this point. And I kind of call myself a taskmaster sometimes. I'm the best manager of time I know, period. I can get stuff done very quickly. So what it boils down to, where I struggle, is where things don't go according to plan. And you viewers of the gaming stuff here on 7 years now, it's actually my channel's 7th birthday as I record this. Happy birthday, me, I guess. Creative version of me, I don't know. See, look, I'm going all over the place. It's almost like I have ADHD or something. When things do not go according to plan, I don't do well. I've gotten better, but people who are close to me can tell you I get really, really frustrated when things don't go according to plan. You guys see it when I play my video games. It's why I didn't last very long in Hollow Knight Silksong. I have a great amount of respect for people who can bang their head against a wall for hours on end and fight the same boss over and over and over again. But in my brain, I'm like, okay, if I can get done with this episode in this amount of time, I'll be happy. And when it takes longer than that, I feel like I am not completing things as fast as I need to. My own set pace. I'm the only one pacing myself like this. And that's another thing that me and Dr. Donaldson talked about. It's kind of a framing state of mind, right? So what I need to work on, and again, I feel like I've gotten a lot better at this even in the last year, but I still have work to do on it. I need to take time when things don't go according to plan and I start to get frustrated. I need to take time to just step back or lean back in my squeaky gaming chair and just process and just step back and kind of say to myself, I don't have to rush this. I can regroup. I can do this. That is the biggest struggle for me. And from that struggle comes a lot of issues I deal with. I can be a very chill guy some days. Like, a lot of the time I'm a very go with the flow guy, but there are some days where if things don't line up perfectly with the mental schedule I've made for myself, or something goes wrong, quite frankly, I lose my freaking mind. And it's gotten me, I don't want to say into trouble, but it's gotten me into some tough spots. And now that I know that, hey, I'm not completely insane, this is a thing that a lot of other people deal with, and it's treatable. My doctor said, like, there's no cure for this. And I told him, I don't need a cure, I just need a way to manage it. And now I know how to do that, which is a huge relief, because for years I have just beat myself up. It's like, why am I like this? Why am I so angry? And I've had a therapist. I've been seeing the same therapist since I was, 12 years old? I'm 23. I've been seeing the same therapist since I was 12 for all kinds of different things. But in the last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, we focused a lot more on my mental health for stuff, and she has been really helpful. Self-help books are really good. Dr. Donaldson, in his awesome detailed report, put in recommended readings for ADHD. I'm going to leave those in the description. I'm going to be sinking my teeth into those as soon as I finish reading the self-esteem help book that I haven't touched in like, what, 2-3 months? I share all of this because I am my most authentic self on here, minus the cursing. I edit out 98% of the cursing, and you guys know that. I do this story time, if you will, to hopefully inspire anyone out there watching this. Like, if you have questions about yourself, dive in. There are a lot of good people out here that can help you figure out what makes you tick if you don't even know what makes you tick. Dr. Donaldson has done wonders for me and my fiance. That same psychological center has helped. I believe other friends of mine have gone there and have gotten help from him. Other members of my family are going to that same center to get help for whatever. The whole point of all this, if you are beating yourself up about why am I the way that I am, I want to change this about myself, go get tested. Like, it's not ridiculously insane with insurance. I mean, that's one of the other things I worried about going into this. It's like, oh, what's insurance going to look like? How much money is this going to cost? At the end of the day, the money that you, I don't know, spend on this is going to be well worth it, because for the first time in my whole life, I know in my bones and in my brain that I'm not crazy. Seriously. Like, I have thought to myself so many years, like, dude, you're going insane. Like, this is not a normal thing for you to be doing. No, it's not, but there are a lot of other people out there that experience this same thing, and it's treatable, and it's doable, and there are medications out there for this. I have been recommended medication. I am not going that route yet because I want to try some of the other lifestyle changes first. And by no means am I recommending or not recommending that you go on medication or whatnot. I am not a medical professional. This is my own experience. Please, for God's sakes, go to a licensed medical professional and don't just listen to me. I encourage you, all of you out there, to dive deeper into your mental health. And if you are, I'll read off some of the symptoms on here that I have for ADHD that got detailed in this report. Inattention falls under difficulty sustaining attention in tasks, problems listening when spoken to directly, completing tasks, avoids and dislikes tasks that require sustained mental effort. That's a big one for me. Losing things necessary for tasks or activities, and then in the hyperactivity, impulsivity umbrella, difficulty sitting still for a long time, fidgeting, excessive talking, blurting out an answer before called on in school. I guess I had trouble with that when I was littler. I grew out of it. But my whole point being, if you have questions about yourself, get answers. Like, you can ask yourself all these what ifs. It's like, oh, what if insurance doesn't cover this? What if I don't like what I find? You gotta like the truth. Because even if it's not what you want to hear, it's one step closer to what you do want to hear. And when Dr. Donaldson told me that I had ADHD, I'm not gonna lie to you, I nearly cried in his office. Because I finally know myself 100%. There is a scientific, medical explanation for why I can't sit still, why I'm irritable, for seemingly no reason at all, but there is a reason for it. Like, I feel sane. I feel truly, truly sane for the first time in my life, and that is more freeing than I can put into words. So I know I've done a lot of rambling, but I'm gonna try and tie it back to some things that make me tick, and maybe by me sharing this, it will help other people out there be like, hey, I do some of this same stuff. So, baseline, I can't sit still. I'm moving my hands, I'm moving my toes as I'm sitting in my chair right now. It just feels good for me to move around. My brain is always firing at 1,000,000 miles per hour. I'm always thinking about like 3 different things at once. When I'm door dashing, I'm thinking about things while I drive. I do not want to be a door dasher for the rest of my life, but I really do love the job because when things go according to plan, I can work longer than I originally planned to do. When things don't go according to plan and I have an awful day and I feel like I'm about to scream at someone, which I often do on the road because road rage, ADHD rage, they mesh very well, trust me. Door dashing allows me to work at my own pace, and I work very fast. One of my favorite sayings that I like to say to other people about DoorDash, I say, it's not door leisurely drive, it's DoorDash. I go quick, I get my stuff done, I make money, and right now, that works for me. I want my future to be in baseball broadcasting. Whether that happens, that's up in the air, and that's another thing that I've worked with my therapist a lot on in these last, really, 2 or 3 years. I haven't had a baseball job above the high school level in the better part of 3 years now. And there have been days where I have struggled to get out of bed because I've said to myself, like, what am I doing with my life? But the reality of why I'm so frustrated is I want to get from point A to point B as fast as humanly possible. And the thing about life is you can't do that. You gotta go through the unskippable cutscenes to get to the thing you want. And that's where I struggle a lot with video games. And I want to thank Castlecheck for that comment that he left on the last Hollow Knight Silksong video, and I addressed this comment. He's noticed it in other games, and I was going to talk about it here too, so I greatly appreciate him throwing that out. It's pretty obvious that in a lot of my playthroughs, I get more visibly frustrated when I hit a wall and when I get close to the end of games, because that's the way video games are. They get harder as you progress. And if you don't know what you're doing, it takes you longer. And with the scatterbrain, here's another thing. Here's the big thing in my medical sheet here. The big thing that I struggled with in my testing, working memory. I struggle a lot with my ability to store and retrieve auditory information. That's a lot lower than my other intellectual abilities at working memory. So where I greatly struggled, I know I'm going all over the place here. I'm trying to string it all together. See, here I go, pinwheeling again. In my old dining hall job, when I graduated college and Gilbert baseball season was done last year, I needed a job. So I went back to the old dining hall that I worked at as a student, and I went there as like an extra helper cook. And for a while, it was fine. But where I struggled was with the nature of that job. So with the dining centers here at Iowa State, there's like 6 or 7 little mini stations that you can go to with like different types of food. So for my first month, I was put at one mini station, which was the salad bar and the deli bar. I was really good at that. It took a little bit of a learning curve, but after a couple of weeks, I was pretty good at that. Like, it wasn't anything crazy. It was pretty simple, but it was the culmination of doing a lot of tiny, tiny little things. There were like 100 little micro tasks to fuel like 3 big tasks, if that makes sense. Stock the salad bar, stock the like mini dessert bar / fruit bar that's there, and then man the deli as needed. I did that really, really well. I probably would have stayed in that job longer if I stayed at that mini station, because I got into a routine. That's the other big thing with ADHD. It's a routine that you have to get into. But as soon as I got used to that routine, then they moved me to another mini station, which is the nature of the job. They don't want one cook to stay at one place for too long. They want you to learn new things, which is good. But when I got moved to my second station, I really struggled. And even as I still got used to things, there were still days where I really, really struggled. My first station at the deli/salad bar, I did great. I crushed that. I loved it. It was easy for me. But then I got moved to this other thing, and when things bottle up, and that's where the working memory comes in. If there are a bunch of little things that line up in my brain, and if I even get distracted by one tiny other little thing, another thing or two can go flying out the window. I probably once a day fill up my water bottle here at the kitchen sink behind me, and I forget it back there when I come back to my gaming station here because I empty the dishwasher or grab a quick little snack or talk to my fiance about something, and it just completely goes out the window. So that's where the working memory struggles come in, and it kicked my butt at my old job. And it got to a point where I was so stressed out about screwing up at the job that I was making myself sick, and I had more sick days probably in the span of a month and a half than I had in the last decade. That's how stressed out I was, and I lost a lot of weight, and it was not a fun time. So I quit the job, which I didn't want to do, but I had to. It was nothing against any of the people there. I was treated so well at that job. I love Iowa State University dining because they treat the students well. That's why I came back as an adult. They treated me well as a student worker, and even as I was, they knew I didn't know anything. Hardly anything going into that job. I had to relearn like knife safety. I had to relearn some basic food sanitation practices. And the other thing that freaked me out is like, I called it my scatterbrain in the job. And people understood that because I said, oh, my scatterbrain made me forget this. I was always so terrified that I was going to forget to like wash my hands at some point, that I was going to give someone food poisoning and kill them. Like, I was genuinely worried about that. To my knowledge, it never happened. But stuff like that really freaked me out in that job. So I had to go to something that worked for me. DoorDash was my original plan going out of that first Gilbert baseball season that I did last summer, but nothing was available. So I had to scramble and find the first job I could, and they picked me up right away. But I lasted 2.5 months in that job, and it just didn't work for me. And DoorDash opened up about a month after I quit Seasons. So that worked out really well for me. But the big thing is just taking a step back and collecting everything, because things can get very jumbled, and I do a lot better when I write things down. Writing things down immediately when I hear them is what helps me. Dr. Donaldson talked to me about potentially getting some accommodations where I work, and I think that's something I'm going to look into as I apply for baseball jobs. It's like, hey, I have ADHD. It doesn't greatly hinder me, but writing things down helps to remember. I have a YouTube/Twitch notepad on my phone here to remember all the 500 ideas that I have at once and to help schedule my videos and all that stuff. So writing things down really, really helps me. It's the memory thing too. That's another thing I struggle with in video games. As I'm learning a new moveset in a new game, say Hollow Knight Silksong, a lot of the time I forget the buttons. And if I go to work for a week and then don't play again until the weekend, I forget those things. I'm sure that's a normal people thing to forget too, but I forget basic controls of games sometimes that I haven't played a ton. And that's why I don't love going back to old games if I don't absolutely have to like play on the channel here, because like I forget the controls and then I bungle a button and then I fall or die or whatever, and then that wrecks my mental plan, and then it's just, if you remove one card from the house of cards, it goes tumbling down. That's a mentality that I'm working on, but it has given me, frankly, it's given me a lot of panic attacks over the years. You saw it at the end of my last Hollow Knight Silksong video. Like, I was this close to a panic attack, and I said, nope, we're not going to do this. The old me would have forced my way through that and fought through a panic attack to finish that video, but I'm not going to do it. Because at the end of the day, my mental health's more important, and now that I have a true, medically confirmed ADHD diagnosis, I feel freer than I have in my whole life. And that is everything. And I'm going to use that freedom to get closer with the people I love. I'm gonna get closer with my fiance because we both have the same type of ADHD. We have the mild combined presentation of ADHD. The thing that makes it mild is we were both diagnosed as adults, and it really wasn't all that prevalent in our childhood. Fun fact, I got tested for autism as a young age, which I didn't really fully remember until I talked to my mom about this earlier this month. I remember getting tested for something as a kid. I didn't know it was an autism screening. I got diagnosed with something else. I couldn't tell you what it was because I got better with it by the time I was in the 2nd grade, and I had a speech therapist in elementary school from kindergarten until early 2nd grade, and then I shook the IEP and I went on my merry way. But I got tested for that when I was little, and like they weren't looking for ADHD, and I did great in school. I really didn't struggle with anything until math in the 7th grade, and then Spanish in high school when I had a horrendous teacher who just ruined the whole subject for me. But other than foreign language and math, like, I crushed it at school, and I did really, really well during college. I graduated with like a 371 GPA in college. I did really good at that, and I was an RA, and I did great stuff there, and I managed other people and did all this great stuff. But what hinders me is when things don't go according to plan, and I get really, really frustrated. But now I know how to deal with that, because I've been I can't speak. I've been rambling for 30 minutes. Let me take a sip of water real fast. I have been medically diagnosed with ADHD. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. And I know myself better than I ever have, and I feel free. And that's everything. And I wanted to share that with you guys because I feel like a lot of aspects of my ADHD come out on this channel for better or for worse. I've always felt like I go really fast. I feel like this diagnosis for me is a double-edged sword. I really do think ADHD makes me a more creative person. There's a lot of YouTubers out there. The two of our favorite YouTubers, me and my fiance, we like to watch, Markiplier, Ice Cream Sandwich, both have ADHD, and they are the best YouTubers out there, and they're phenomenal people. And like, I feel like the ADHD makes me a better YouTuber, but at the same time, it hinders me from being the best YouTuber I can be, if that makes sense, because it frustrates me when I can't get through a game as fast as I want, or do a task as fast as I want, and it frustrates me and I don't want to do the thing anymore. But like, I like who I am. I love who I am. It's just, it's the darker little corners of frustration and anger and rage that I've been trying to solve this Rubik's Cube of that my whole life, and now I have the answer key for that. It's right here. I feel like I'm gonna be better than I ever have been by the time I get to 2026, because I'm gonna read these self-help books. I'm gonna manage all these other strategies. All this information I have from Dr. Donaldson got forwarded to my therapist. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm gonna be okay. And I share all of this because I want those of you out there who are struggling to do the same, because guys, I feel so free. Like, oh my God, I feel like a whole new person since I got this diagnosis. Yes, I still get frustrated at things. I had plenty of moderate road rage on my DoorDash today, but like, I didn't let it pinwheel. And I know where it's coming from now. It's just stemming from me not going about things as fast as I want. And the solution to that is to just know and be aware that I need to take a step back, and it's perfect. So I know I've been doing a lot of rambling. Thank you for those of you who watched this whole thing. I greatly appreciate it. I wanted to gush about this, and I wanted to keep this around 20 minutes. It's probably going to be closer to high 20s, low 30s. But seriously, thank y'all for being around here. The OGs have been here for 7 years. We're still going strong in a different way than I had planned. I'm doing more short-form content now, which I love. There's going to be more long-form content coming. Mario Galaxy 2 should drop on the Switch next week. I'm going to be playing that. And there's other games this fall. Metroid is releasing another installment. There's another Hyrule Warriors game coming out that I'm going to play. And I'm going to let the ADHD take the wheel, but I'm not going to let it run it off the road. If I need to take time to do what I need to do, I'm going to do it. I like these sports sims so much because I've literally played thousands and thousands of hours of them, and I know how to manage the time there, whether I win or lose. That's why I revert back to those comfort games so much, because it's a time constraint that I'm aware of. That's why I play those so much, and sometimes why I struggle on playthroughs here, because I want to go through that at the same pace I do the sports sims, but I can't do that because it's a new game compared to other games I've played for thousands of hours in my lifetime, if that makes sense. So, okay, I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm gonna start editing this and then make some dinner with my fiance. So, yeah, that's what I got. I have ADHD, and I feel more okay than I've felt in a very long time. Thank y'all for supporting me, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace out.